Okay, so now what I'll try to do, so here I'll take one MS note so that it would be clear rather than having the mess. I know that I'll spoil the screen here. Okay, so now first of all I'll maximize this, and then I'll start from here. Hmm. Okay, so now first I wanted to start with the implicit weight, and then I'll go for the explicit weight, and then I'll go for the fluent weight. So these are the journey which we will try to do it. Now, what do you meant by implicit weight? There are specific differences and the basic functionality of this implicit weight. Now, for an example, I do have 10 lines of code. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 lines of code. And in this particular 10 lines of code, what usually I'll be doing it, I means finding the element, and I'll be performing the action on that particular element. So this is what we have been done, right? So find the element and then perform the action. Means, for example, find a button, click, and find a text box, send text. So now this we are doing it, right? If we are using find element, find elements in your 10 lines of code, means if you are using 10 out, means this 10 lines of code, you are using 10 lines of code on this. So if you define your implicit weight over here, implicit weight for 30, means I'll show you the syntax and then I implement it, but as of now just to understand the theoretical concept, and then I'll show the practical concept. So now I define that one as 30 seconds, means we will be giving a milliseconds in this one. If I have been given 30,000 milliseconds, means we have been given 30 seconds of time. Now, in your 10 lines of code, wherever you have been find element or find elements, means elements also one of the methods. So actually you have been seen, right? You've taken the list of elements into a list and then you hang it. So now when you wanted to get a bunch of elements, we can be using the find elements. Okay, if it is a single element, we will be saying it as a find element. If you wanted to identify multiple elements, we will be using the method find elements. In your code, if you have been used whether you have been used the find element or find elements one or twice, means even in the 10 lines you have used that particular method to identify an element and then writing it, if you define the implicit weight will be applicable for all the find elements in your code. See, for an example, I have 10 lines of code. In 10 lines of code, in the line number 1, if I have been defined that this is an implicit weight, all the 10 elements which you have been defined in the code are, means will have this particular implicit weight impact. Means I define only once here, and for all these particular 10 elements, the 10 lines of statement, this particular implicit weight will work wherever you use the find element and the find elements. So this is for a group of elements which you wanted to work on. Okay, so now if you define once, means it will be only once it would be defined, and then it can be applicable for all the elements, all the following elements. Now what it will happen, if means for an example, if you get anything, for an example, I'm waiting, means this is what my DOM. Okay, in the DOM I was waiting for a button. Now this will come, this statement is what I wanted to click on this particular element. Now what it will try to do, as soon as I come for this one, because of this particular impact, I'll wait for this particular element, and then I'll click on this particular button. How much time I'll wait? So I has as defined as a 30 seconds. So I'll come here for the element and I'll wait for the 30 seconds and I'll click on this particular element. So now I'll click on this. If everything is okay, then fine. If it is not okay, next, I wanted to enter in the text box. I came here in the DOM page. I was waiting for this particular element. Once again, I'll wait for 30 seconds and I will see whether this particular object is present or not in the DOM. After 30 seconds, I didn't see this particular element over here. Then what it will do is it will fail this particular thing. It will fail this particular thing and log that this is failed, and it will proceed further with the next element. and it will wait for the next element. For an example, next button is a checkbox. So now for the checkbox, it will be okay. Radio button. It will be easy for the representation. There is a radio button. So for this radio button, it will wait for 30 seconds. You mean to understand that now when we have means when we have been using this implicit wait, so the implicit wait, if you define at once, so it can be applicable for the remaining lines of code wherever you use the find element and the find elements. And what it will do, it will wait for the element. If the element presents, it will click successfully, and then it will go for the next element. If the element is not present, then it will fail that particular element, and then it will proceed further. Somewhere else we have been listen something concept like this, which is called the soft asset. We have been seen, right? If there it asset, and then it will go. If it fail, it will proceed further. So this is what like a similar concept of the soft assetting. If you don't know about soft assetting, then perfectly fine, but for whoever knows that one, they can easily understand this. Okay. And if at all, as soon as you come to the next element, so the next element is another button. So now this particular button, within the first second itself, it identified, it will not wait for 30 seconds. See, the maximum time is 30 seconds, boss. If the element occurs in the time, if the element occurs within this stipulated time, within 1 or 2 seconds, immediately it will click that particular button, and then it will go to the next. It will not wait for the complete time. So as soon as it sees the button, so then it will click on that, and then it will go away. It will not wait for all the stipulate means all the time. Okay. So this is the functionality of almost means every synchronization things. But what is the differences, you will understand later once you have been logged on over here. So now, so if there is any particular failure, on this particular failure, it means it will record, and then it will proceed further with the further execution, and it will validate the other elements also in the script. So this is what the implicit wait. So once again, I'll repeat this one. Implicit wait is applicable for the complete lines of code. You no need to write in the multiple lines. I think I seen this code in Joshi's.
Myself,
Yeah,
yes.
I seen this one. So now you have means, because if you define once, that's it. Implicit code will take care of all the lines of code wherever it was required. It will take the implicit code, the implicit wait, wherever you have find element and find elements in all these particular places. The implicit wait will wait for 30 seconds. If the element occurs, immediately it will come out. If the element not occurs, it will wait for the maximum time of 30 seconds, and then it will time out. So this is the functionality of the implicit wait. Are we clear with this one? Any questions? So now
It
this
is
is how
it is only for find elements, or it is anything it will wait for 30 seconds.
for anything means what else we'll have, only for elements only we will wait, right? See, the synchronization will be only happen for the elements. Now the elements is, for an example, I load a home page, and what we will try to do, okay, what I will try to do in the login page, I'll try to wait for username and password. I enter the username password, then I'll wait for the login button. As soon as I click the login button, I'll go to the home page and I'll search for a welcome text. I'll wait for that welcome text. I will go to the home page, and I'll be waiting for that means see, Selenium doesn't know. See, it is really dumb. So now whatever we instruct to the machine, to the tool, it will perform. So now what I said, you enter username password into this particular identifiers, it entered. Click this button, you go to the home page, and in the home page you wait for the welcome to Chris. So now this particular text will be there. You wait for that particular text. If you're able to get that particular text, then perfectly fine. If you're not able to get for that particular text, you fail the script. This is what even that is what you will write the test cases, right? Actual should be equal to the expected. If it is not matching, then it is failed. The same way, my expected is it's welcome to Chris. So now the actual is it should navigate to that, and then it should get that text, and then it should asset that particular text. If I'm able to do that, then the test case is passed, or else the test case is failed, right? So now anywhere, every time, everywhere, we will wait for this particular elements. Now you said anything, right? In that particular anything, sometimes I'll make the DB connections, or sometimes I need to get the DB so to execute the query and then get the response value, or in the API responses, I need to wait. See, at that time we are not waiting for the object, we are waiting for that particular we are waiting for some action to be completed, right? So I'll let you know how to handle for those things. But as of now, 90 percentage you only wait for the object. In any scenario, almost 90 percentage you only wait for the object. Cool.
Chris, 1 second. Like just I have means if I'm resizing the browser, that time I'm not waiting it, right? So to resize also, to execute that line also, it will wait for 30 seconds.
No, it will happen in fraction of milliseconds.
Okay.
There is a default time of executing the Selenium statement point 0.003 or 4 milliseconds, the execution speed of a Selenium. This is one of the question which one guy asked me. So what is a default time for executing any Selenium step? So this is very rare, so none of the people will understand this one. Why? It because it all depends upon the Selenium architecture. Even I don't know why it will be, but what would be the time, default average time? This is an average time of execution speed, which I got this answer. I googled for this one, so I got that. Okay, now any that particular statement we are giving here 30 seconds, 20 seconds. That is, in a second it was having, in a millisecond it was executing it. So that's a basic difference. So I don't think for that particular statements we need to wait. Immediate, see, only we are waiting. If you see your scripts, if you have written all your script, right, just look into your script where you have been waited. You got the answer.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get the answer.
Sir. Yeah, correct.
Okay, fine. Any other questions, guys? Did we understand implicit wait? See, if you understand this implicit wait very clearly, then we can talk about the explicit wait. Clear? Okay, let's come to the explicit wait. In explicit wait, what it will try to do is, here we are waiting for all the find elements, right? Here it will only wait for specific element, not for a bunch of elements. It will do only for specific element. Now how this will wait is, for that particular element this will give conditions. Means actually we do have 17 conditions in the explicit wait. What are the 17 conditions is, in the DOM this particular object is present, or in the DOM this object is visible or not, in the DOM this particular object is enabled or not. So like this we do have 17 conditions are available. So now before clicking or before performing some action, I'll make sure that the object is present in the DOM or object is visible in the DOM. So that I'll check that, and then I'll click on that particular object. So here and here also means, see, here also he will be, means if you are identifying the element, means we are using the find element or find elements. But here we will talk only for specific element, not for multiple elements. So it will be for a specific element we will be looking at. And it will have, means how you will write the wait statement is, I'll say that until, means until is a method. So until we will be passing the condition as saying that presence of this particular element. So presence of this element, so means how much time I need to wait. I'll give the 30 seconds of time. So for this particular 30 seconds for this particular element it will wait. If at all the element occurred in the first second, then it will click that and it will go away. Or if at all the element didn't come, so then it will wait for 30 seconds of time. 30 seconds of time in the browser, it will wait for that. And once after 30 seconds it didn't identify that element, if it didn't identify the element, then it will fail that particular script and it will abort that particular test case. It will not go further. It is like a hard assertion. In the hard assertion we have it, right? It will fail that particular test case. It will fail, means I'm not able to identify this particular object. It will fail that particular test case and it will abort that particular test case, and then it will print you the result. That's it. And here you have another thing is, there is a default polling time for explicit wait. What do you mean by polling time? So polling time is nothing but, we are looking for an object button, right? This is our DOM. Okay, every 0.5 second 0.5 second means half of the second. Second means in a half of the second, it will come to the DOM and check whether this object is present or not. No, the object is not there. Then it will wait for another 0.5 second. And immediately after 0.5 second, it will come and check. And immediately after 0.5 second, it will come and check whether the object is present or not, based upon the condition which you have been given. So this is called polling time. Polling time means continuous job it will do, and then it will come and check whether that particular required condition is met or not. That is called polling. So this is, we have default 0.5, and you will not define this particular value anywhere. Internally to this particular method, we will be having the default polling time. So explicit wait is nothing but it will be specified for a specific element, and then it is specified in such a way that you'll be having 17 conditions which you'll be using it, like presence of element, visibility of element, and all these things. And you'll be you are defining that particular time, and then as you given the time, it will come, means if the element is identified in the first second, it will execute that and it will proceed further with the script. If the element is not identified for the 30 seconds, it will fail the script, and then it will halt the execution. So now you compare the difference, means now you easily understand the difference. So implicit wait is for a group of elements, and whereas explicit wait is for a specific element. And then if this particular element is failed, then it will record and then it will proceed further with the execution. But whereas explicit wait, if it is failed, then it will halt the execution. That's it, right? So now, and it have a default polar time which we have the 0.5 seconds, and it have the different conditions which we need to use it to identify the presence of the element, or the whether the element is present in the DOM. So we will be using this one. So this is called explicit wait. Is it clear? Now here I wanted to let you know another thing also. If at all we fail, means I don't remember whether I have that particular link with
Uh,
me in handy.
Chris, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I have one question.
Hmm.
So in any of the test cases, like we have implemented the implicit wait first. So after that, there is some some 10th line or 20th line for that particular element. We need to use the explicit wait. So is this possible to implement both implicit and explicit wait for the same test case?
You
I
can
mean,
do it.
right?
You can do it. But that's a wrong way of doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
See, now you know, understand the difference, right? You are
Yes.
specifying the explicit weight and you are specifying the implicit weight for only one element. So that's the wrong way of doing it. See, many of the people, what they will do is, in starting of the framework, they use the implicit weight and they use the explicit weights also. You shouldn't use both weights at one shot. So that's a wrong way of implementation. You shouldn't ever do that one. And using implicit weight is a wrong way of implementation. You shouldn't use the implicit weight, but you need to understand in which situation I should use it. See, now for an example, I was doing it for a home page. I entered username, password, click the login button. Now I should go to the home page, but as this particular login functionality is failed, then what else I can go do on the home page? There is time waste, right? So then I will be using the explicit weight. At that time, if you use implicit weight, I have 100 elements in the home page. Do you understand, right? Now I didn't go to the home page. I have 100 elements in the home page. I'll wait for 30 seconds for all the elements which I need to validate in the home page. At that point of time, you should use only the explicit weight, because if it don't go to the home page, then stop it. No execution is required. Now how much time you have been saved? 100 elements into 30 seconds. So you are approximately saving 3000 seconds. Okay,
Yes.
so you have to be very cautious. Where should I use implicit weight? Where should I use the explicit weight? Implicit weight can be used in such a way that in a home page I need to validate 100 elements, 100 links. That's not a showstopper for me. So just it's a lightweight. It means I need to validate the text boxes, text, these things I need to validate. At that time I can use the implicit weight for that particular home page. So in that particular home page, I can validate that particular things, and this will be applicable for that particular class, not for all other classes. Also implicit weight will not work. Implicit weight, where you define in that particular class, in that particular test case, it will implicate it in that particular range. The scope of this one would be into this class level itself, where you have been used the implicit weight. And for example, I need to validate 100 elements in that particular page. I validate all those particular elements, and whatever passed or failed, I can do it. Why I don't use the explicit weight? Because for example, on 10th element it failed, so once again I'll fix it and then I'll rerun it. On 12th element it will fail, once again I'll fix it and run it. And 30th, 40th, so now for that one I don't want it to run that many times. I'll run for once, I'll see, okay, there are failures in the 12th, 10th, 40th, 50th, 60th. I'll record all, I'll change at once, and then once I'll run once again, so that I can fix all the issues at one shot. So at that time, implicit weight will become handy for us. So you should understand the exact implementation where I should use the explicit weight. If I'm not able to go, for an example, any smoke test cases and these things, if you not able to go to the next page, you will get failed with because of this one. Then there you need to use implicit weight only, not explicit weight only, not implicit weight. So you need to understand the scenario to scenario, and then you need to use it. See guys, it's all up to you. You have a needle and you have a knife. When you wanted to cut a mango, you will be using knife, not needle. And when you wanted to stitch a particular cloth, you will not use knife, you will use needle. So you have both things sharpen edge, but still you should know where to use what. The same way, if you understand that one clearly, then you can do the right implementation of implicit weight and the explicit weight. So hope you got the example. So how means in which situations I need to use the implicit weight and in which situation I need to use the explicit weight, right?
Yes, Chris. Thanks. Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? Guys, I'm telling you, right, this is the most important topic. Many of the people will get easily confused on this one. So any other questions, if you have, feel free to ask me on this. Uh, explicit weight exceptions. I'll give you some more some more information also for you people. Yeah, this is one of the beautiful link. Okay, in this particular link, what we can see, this is you can see the implementation, but not this one. Where are my exceptions? Where I read that. See, always the people are trying to explain the differences, but I want the exceptions. Means if implicit weight went wrong, what are the exceptions you'll be getting it? If you explicit weight goes wrong, what are the exceptions you'll be getting it? So that information I wanted to show you. If you understand that one, by seeing the error, you can fix the issue. So that there are 4 issues. If you means we will get if explicit weight not works. What are those 4 issues? Is element not found, element is not visible, and stale element exception, and one more exception is also there. I thought of saving that particular URL, but I lost in my previous laptop. Conditions. Okay, I'll do one thing. So what are those exceptions? Fine guys, I'll look that particular website. See, what I'm trying to show you is, now for an example, now I got this particular exception, means implicit weight and explicit weight exception, right? So now if it is an implicit weight exceptions, what are the exceptions we have it? And if it is an explicit weight exceptions, what are the exceptions we have it? So if you know these particular exceptions, doing this particular debugging is also very much faster and easier. Okay, so tomorrow what I'll try to do is, so I'll try to go through, I'll give you that particular exceptions information. What means if the explicit exception failed, what are the exceptions you will get it? Why I should know about this? If you understand this one, you will understand this fluent weight very clearly, because fluent weight can ignore the exceptions. Fluent weight is a combination of both implicit weight and the explicit weight. So if somewhere else, if you have an exception, we can write that exception that if you get no such element exception, don't stop your execution, you can proceed further. So we can ignore those particular exceptions. If you mention some exceptions here, if you encounter these particular exceptions, it will ignore that exceptions and it will proceed further. So that's the beauty of the fluent wait. And we do have other advantages, whatever the disadvantages in the explicit wait. So those are being corrected in the fluent wait. But majority of the industry will not use this particular fluent wait at all. So either they will use implicit wait, means okay, 80% of the people will use explicit wait, and 20% of people will be using the thread dot sleep, not implicit wait or any other things. So complete industry was split into this. So we shouldn't use that thread dot sleep. Why we shouldn't use that thread dot sleep? That is what we will discuss it tomorrow continuation. Okay. So tomorrow we will be talking about this continuation of this particular synchronization calls, and then we'll talk about these profiles. We'll talk about this desired capabilities, and we'll talk about these particular options. Okay. So these 4 topics we'll try to complete it for tomorrow. And guys, you will be taking next row of the elements in the leaf ground. Try to complete that. So until unless you complete them, we can't do anything. Okay. And even we need to as I'm expecting that you have gone through that particular videos, I'll keep this particular XPaths last to discuss on this one. Okay. And then after this one, we'll talk about the exceptions, because if you go for any interview or if you go for anything, so the people will easily identify whether you have the real-time experience or not. But if you understand, there are 42 exceptions in the Selenium. If you know this exception and the solution of this exception, that's it. By seeing the exception, you can say the answer. If you don't know this one, you're gone. You'll spend some hours and hours of time in Stack Overflow and browsing in the Google. So first, if you learn these particular things, then you write the code and then you see it. That's where I kept these exceptions last, because anyways you are working on these items and you'll be getting stuck. You get the exception, you browse and then you spend the time. Now once last, if you learn this one, you can understand what is the importance of this particular exceptions, which is called the Selenium exceptions. So this would be the last session on Friday, so that once we discuss this one, so we will be completing this particular sessions on Selenium. And let's keep some assessment or some, anyways you are doing everyday assessment, I don't think it is really required. Let's see a quick rapid fire round on Monday or on any time, so we can see it and then we can proceed further with the frameworks from the next week. So that's what the plan. So fine guys, so that's it from my end. If you have any questions on the implicit wait and explicit wait, you can stay back. Else if you are done, then nothing more to discuss from my end. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Let's catch back tomorrow with these particular things. See you all. Stay safe, guys.
Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks
Yes,
all.
sir. Chris, I have a question. Like,
Yes.
now you said depend on the application. We have to choose the weights, or right? Like means, for example, ECP is an Angular application. So is it anything differs in that way to use implicit or explicit, or it depends on the case by how we are getting the issue, based on that we'll be using weights?
See,
Because you gave that background in the starting, right? So
yes.
why you give
See,
that background? Yeah.
The basic problem why I given the for this one is you're using the CHR solutions is using the complete CRM applications and all the legacy applications. So where you have been it have the combination of latest technologies and the old technologies. So when we have this particular the asynchronous calls, handling this particular asynchronous calls is very hard. If you see Ashwin's code, or if you see Harish code, or whatever the code which you guys are seeing now, you will be seeing most of the code with this particular thread dot sleeps. You shouldn't use the thread dot sleep at all. What it was happening, we are trying to handle the application. See now, why we use the synchronization issues, we are trying to match the tool speed and the application speed. But what we are trying to do with the synchronous waits is we are trying to handle the application slowness, which is wrong. If you are using the thread dot sleep, means you are trying to handle the performance of the application. You shouldn't do that. That's a bug is a bug, right? You shouldn't handle the bug, right? So application, see now, application has to respond me within this 1 second or 5 seconds, worst case 10 seconds. If application is not handling for 30 seconds, if it is not responding me in 30 seconds, is it a good sign of an application?
No.
Then you
Mm,
should fail the test case. You shouldn't increase this 30 seconds to 60 seconds and then pass the test case. You shouldn't do that. Boss,
correct.
if you ask me, I'll keep 10 seconds. If the application is not responded in 10 seconds, let fail the application. I don't want this crappy application. Means
Okay.
what means now what it has to happen, the page and the element has to load within the span of 10 seconds onto the DOM. If the element is not loaded to the DOM within the span of 10 seconds, then why I require this particular application, boss? Will you see that the client will sit in front of you and then see for 10, wait for 10 seconds? Within the short of 3 seconds, the Amazon has been lost 300 crores in a great Indian sale day within this delay of 3 seconds. There is a statistical data. If a particular page is not open within the span of 20 seconds, 35% of people will break their laptops or mobile phones.
Okay, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like in our applications, it depends on the data, how much it loads on that. Like I understand the API call itself is taking time. Means whenever I say to the developers, they say the API call itself is taking time. Still, I say that benchmarking should be below 10 seconds.
see
Uh,
now one thing, yesterday I was talking to my team members. My team is 34 people. We do have a big gathering. I mean, every Tuesday we'll have this particular gathering. They were saying that um, there is a problem in the UI. When we drill it down, they are saying the problem in the backend. Then they were saying that the problem is in the infra. I understand the problem is there, but what happened to you? Don't you have the guts to say that, stand up and say that I can't send this one to the production because you fix it up? I don't know whether the problem is UI, whether the problem is API, whether the problem is in infra. It doesn't matter for me. But what it matter for me is, as a tester, I want this response to come on this. I raise the bug, you fix this, then only I'll send it to the live, or
right.
else I'll not do this. Now the problem, what it was happening is, it's like a finger pointing. So now when the client team, the F means the front end team, when we are talking, so the front end team, what they will say that, boss, this is the back end team problem. So the back end team need, when we go to the back end team, they will say that DBA problem, because backend team, what they will try to use in the APIs, they will be calling these particular queries. When you go for that particular queries, what the DBA team will say, I'm doing it very frequent. I was writing this one, but the servers are not cooperating with me to get that particular data. So now it will go for the infra. When you will fix a problem. So now what we need to do here is, we need to exactly say that, boss, the data we are getting it, you need to fine tune your SQL query. And once you fine tune your SQL query, get that particular data and then show the page load time. What for this one, how you can do is do a quick performance testing. We do have many tools available doing it. So for an example, if you see, hope you're seeing the screen.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Now, if you have, okay, I'll stop this one. I think